Hi there, beautiful souls. Grada Robertson here, CEO and co-owner of the Purple House Wellness Center in Forth in Tasmania. And I have also authored several books and published one called You Are the Miracle, How Being Hit by a Truck Saved My Life, which is actually a true story. I did get hit by a truck and it changed my life. It was a turning point. Tonight though, I want to talk a little bit about self-love and the journey of self-love. What happens when we commit to loving ourselves, right? Because this is something that's very close to my heart and that I work with my clients and students during workshops and also during my one-on-one sessions. When we start to reach a healthy level of self-love and connection, every part of our life changes, literally, like our money changes, our relationships become easier, and life becomes more fun. But till we get there, what do we, it brings up a lot of stuff. And so the funny thing is, committing to loving yourself and being kind to yourself is step one, right? So like a commitment, by the way, means recommit. It's a decision that you make, like, okay, I'm going to do different from today onwards, and I'm going to be different to my parents and my grandparents and so on. And so a commitment also means that you are ready to recommit when you fall off the cart, because it's a process. That's what a lot of people often don't realize, that you just hop back on. Okay, so you fell off and you hurt yourself and you hop back on. So once we commit to loving ourselves and having more compassion for ourselves, it's going to bring up all sorts of ugly stuff, because that's what it's meant to do, because we start to see the things that are stopping self-love, that they're going to be thrown in our face. And sometimes people go like, they say, oh well, Grada, but actually my life is much harder now than it was before, because now I never had to deal with this, and now suddenly I'm coming up against such and such. But actually it's a good thing, because it means you're on your journey. And even in the body, if you take extra vitamin C or extra nutrients, suddenly you might get a sore knee, because your body now has the energy to heal you, right? So this means you're doing deep work, you're coming up against something. And one thing that people come up against, that I see a lot in my clients, and I was probably guilty of that myself, is like being a perfectionist. This often shows up in clients. Not so much perhaps that they're conscious of it, sometimes they are, but actually their own subconscious mind will tell me that. It'll say like, oh, Chris is a perfectionist, or Jody is such a perfectionist. If Jody wasn't such a perfectionist, I would have more energy and so on. So when I work with you, I set up communication with your subconscious mind, and it tells me some of where the brakes are on, how you are blocking yourself, right? So that's how I find out. Plus it's easy to see too. So many of us have perfectionistic traits in one way or another, like in a section of our lives. I used to be like a manic cleaner, and which was a bit disastrous when you think I had 6 kids, we lived on a farm, there were lots of blowflies on the farm. Farms are muddy. I had 3 little boys as well as 3 girls. Boys are muddy as well, so I was always like wearing myself thin, keeping the house spotless. It was like completely senseless actually, but I just had this kind of subconscious drive to do it. So thank goodness that's not really ruling my life anymore, but perhaps you can relate to it. So where does this start? So just let me take this back a little bit, so you realize that it didn't start with you, like you didn't create it, but actually you do need to uncreate it. So the good news is you aren't guilty of creating it. You didn't just come out of the blue and you took it on for fun. It was put into you as a coping mechanism or a defense mechanism when you were very, very little, like probably from the moment you were born. So when we are born and we're helpless human beings, like little humans, our survival literally depends on getting the approval of our parents or our primary carers. And if we are not lovable, maybe they won't look after us, maybe we'll be hungry and cold, we might get sick and we die. Something like this goes on in our subconscious mind, and this program keeps running fairly acutely, probably for the first 6 years. And so what we think, we have to be good all the time so we get love, and after a while we don't realize we've forgotten who we are, that we are actually unconditional love, that we are divine gifts from God, that we don't have to earn our brownie points, that there is this innate goodness in us, that we are innate goodness, I should say, and nothing can change that. But we're running on a different program, and by then we have developed a sort of a casing around us, right? And so perfectionism is really an act of self-hatred. So it's not an act of self-love, because you're constantly setting cruel guideposts or cruel goals that are almost unattainable. And even if you do attain 1 or 2 goals, you just raise the benchmark and you work harder, or you get up earlier, or you do more impossible things, so that it gets more and more cruel. So the goals are always out of reach, so you're always feeling that you fall short. That's what perfectionism dwells on. That's the plant of perfectionism in your garden of your heart. But the good news is you are not perfectionism. It's just a mechanism that helped you to survive when you were little, that you took on. And what's behind all that is your beautiful self, your true essence, your core being, your real self, your heart, your soul, whatever you like to call it. And so tonight I am reminded of that story that you might have heard of. There's a Buddhist statue in Thailand, and people didn't know that it was actually a gold statue, because it was totally covered in clay. So it was like an ugly, grey, muddy statue in Thailand that just stood in the same spot for 6 centuries, so 600 years. And suddenly in the 1950s, there must have been a bit of a drought or something, and the clay started to crack, and people could see a glimmer through the cracks, and then they started to peel the covering off, and they realized that it was pure gold. So it was a very, very valuable statue. And 600 years previous, the monks had covered it in mud, because it was wartime and they didn't want it to be raided or damaged or smashed. And so that's just a perfect analogy of us, right? So we come in as this gold, pure gold being. And then we think we're not lovable, so we develop all these behaviors and mechanisms so we can earn other people's love and acceptance and be accepted by the community or our tribe and so on. But actually it's literally just like a casing. It's actually not even very appealing, except we don't realize that. So when we start to peel that little bit back, so these are our patterns, like we can also call it a holding pattern, and it causes pain in relationships a lot of the time, because when we're cruel on ourselves, we're being perfectionistic or hard taskmasters, that often means we don't have much to give in a relationship either, right? So at best of times, it's still going to cause a lot of stress to your partner, or it's going to stop you from having a loving, fulfilling life. So the answer is to gently just allow some cracks to appear in your behaviors, in your patterns. Just relax a bit and allowing some acceptance into yourself. Catch yourself doing what you're doing and open the door of acceptance. So acceptance means I am accepting what I'm seeing here. I started to do this. I was a late learner actually. I probably started to do that in my mid-30s when I started to catch myself out, still winning my parents' approval, something like that. or approval of people in the church, or Peter, of course, or the kids. And I was starting to catch myself out doing that, so some awareness came in. So that's always the first sign. And then I started to practice self-acceptance. Another good way is self-compassion. So these are all like portals that will lead you out of these difficult behaviors into the landscape of self-love. Your ability to love yourself gets a lot easier, and it stretches. You start to relax a bit, good things flow into your life. You don't immediately get sick or sabotage yourself. That's what happens. So I'm going to take you through a quick meditation just to help you drop into yourself, so that it's not just a conceptual learning here that we're doing, but also an experiential learning, that you feel the difference in your body, like when you, with a guided meditation, into the real self. So we're going to get in between the cracks of the mortar and touch the gold. Gold can be, gold is simply your goodness that nobody can ever put a dent in. Nobody can dilute it, nobody can contaminate it, nobody can remove it from you. It's your innate goodness that you were born with, your God-given goodness that nothing can change. And so your perception of yourself is what needs to change. So that's the other thing. We also need to learn to trust that we are good, to trust in our own goodness, to trust that when we get behind all those layers of our behaviors, and by the way, it can be very, very painful because, say, I'm choosing perfectionism tonight, but perfectionists have a lot of shame, and shame means a sort of inherent feeling that I am a flawed being. I have all these flaws inside of me, and if people could see right into my being, they wouldn't love me. And so that's what a perfectionist is running away from. But once you get to experience that in your heart of hearts, it's just a beautiful stillness, it's an awareness, it's like infinite consciousness, it's infinite love that just goes on and on forever. It's your immortal self, right? It's the real you that has always been here and that will always be here, that will survive your death. Once you connect with that, you're hitting the gold, and you're connecting with your own goodness, and then you learn to trust in that, and then you also start to recognize it in everyone around you. Your frequency will change, and the universe will help, bless you, I guess, to put it in a short way. Many blessings will come your way, and the key is all inside your own heart. So let's just do a little practice for a few minutes. I've got a few minutes left, maybe 5 minutes, and to see if you can be like that. Experience how you are that Buddhist monk that's 650 years old or older, all the gold that's been covered up for eons under your defense mechanisms. Maybe you push people away, or you hide behind perfectionism, or other things. Just anything that creates resistance in you belongs to the clay. So let's see if we can touch the gold and then can have a good night's sleep. Okay, so I'm going to invite you to close your eyes and just soften your eyelids. Feel the weight of your bottom on the chair or the bed, and just feel the support of the furniture. Feel the support of the air and the oxygen going into your body, bringing you life. And this is your connection to the universe, to the divine, to source. And it's also showing you that source, true source, is never not here. You are never disconnected. And so just take the breath right into your body, right into the center, into your heart, maybe into the back of your heart, where it's nice and still. And as you're breathing in, you feel yourself become more calm, less stressed, more curious, like where is that gold? Is it deep inside my heart? Is it in my back, in my spine? Where is the glimmer of gold? And you're chasing that inside of you. So sometimes you might experience tension or pain, stress, annoying thoughts. It's all good. That's all good. That's all part of the clay. And remember, the clay is here to protect the gold, so it has a valuable place. So just have compassion for the clay. Have compassion for the ego mind. Have compassion for all your survival strategies and tactics, for your perfectionism. And now just drop into the spaciousness of your own body. And suddenly I want you to imagine you are the sea. You are the sea. Just take a breath in and we're diving deep under the surface. So you are the waves, and during the day the waves are choppy and it's busy and unpredictable and it's always changing. And so now you're getting a break from the waves. Just dive deep under the surface of the sea water, deeper and deeper and even deeper right now, allowing your breath to take you really deep into your own being. And just imagine a deep, rich royal blue for royalty, and it's almost ink blue. And the ink blue, the royal blue, is flowing into every cell of your being. You see it spreading out, and it's the color for deep peace, stillness, tranquility, trust. And it feels different here. Just feel the heaviness in your body now. Feel the change, the shift in your cells, and you just go with it. It feels good to be so deep. It's quiet under here. Nothing ever changes. Everything is the same. There is stability, security. This is your goodness. This is your royalty. And you are precious and valuable. Your life matters. The universe created you as royalty. Just feel that royal blue flowing into all the spaces of the atoms and around the cells, the molecules, your tendons, your tissues, your bone structure, your soft tissues, your skin. Inside the skin, your fat tissue, your brains, your nervous system, your neurology, all the different cells of your body. They're all communicating now in a way that's uplifting, respectful, accepting, appreciation. It's like see your cells shaking hands, cooperation, they're agreeing. Just feel that deep sense of stillness and acceptance. You can think of some things that you love about yourself, that you accept about in yourself, that you approve of, that you appreciate about you. Just take your focus in that area. Appreciate your body, appreciate your lungs for breathing air into your body, keeping your cells alive, and just have a deep sense of appreciation for every part of your body that's just showing up every morning, allowing you to have another day in your earth suit on planet Earth. And just dive deeper into the sea. It's like you go through an opening now and suddenly you enter a magical cave. And you see other people there, your loved ones, maybe people who've passed over, maybe your future offspring that you haven't met yet, your friends, companions. And everyone is welcoming you in. It's like you're a guest of honor. They're hugging you and they're just showering you with love, and you feel that in your heart. You just feel how much you deserve this unconditional love. Just feel the effect of that inside your body, like a visceral reaction inside your body. And if you notice any resistance or aches or pains, or pressure in your head or sinuses, just remain curious and remain accepting of what shows up. And just enjoy that feeling of belonging. This is where you belong. You belong at home in unconditional love. And after you've had enough, you can pause the video if you want to stay in this space longer and meet more of your loved ones, your helpers, your spiritual team. You can stay here as long as you like. You just need to pause the video. But for now, you can breathe into your body and take your attention back behind your eyes. Soften your eyeballs. Feel your bottom on the chair, your feet on the floor, and then you can open your eyes. And then you're back in the room. So you get to experience for a few minutes what it feels like to be in an ocean of stillness, of unconditional love, of pure awareness. And then you can choose who you want to meet. Who do you want to be welcomed by? Your inner guide, your higher self, will show you who that needs to be, so that you feel more loved and more accepted, so that it goes up a few notches, and your ability to have love and self-compassion is healed or improved or expanded, right? This is a journey. This is something that doesn't happen overnight. It's something that needs to be like unwound and healed, and then recreated, and then expanded as you commit to loving yourself again. Till you do that, your life will be a struggle. And when you make your soul's mission all about your own journey of personal and spiritual development, self-love takes a big part in this. It's not selfish, it's like oxygen for your soul. Then you can be a blessing for everyone around you, and it starts with you. So thanks for tuning in, everyone, and I hope that you'll have a really enjoyable week. Just catch yourself practicing. When you catch yourself practicing perfectionism, just remember that's the clay that's covering the gold, and love that clay for what it is. Because if the clay hadn't been covering that the golden statue would have been stolen or destroyed a long time ago or violated. So there is a good reason why we are the way we are, and we also need to show compassion for that as well. It's all about bringing all the different parts of you into alignment, so that they all work towards your goal, which is something, your heart's desire, your soul's purpose, so you can have a good life. If you need any help with anything on your journey, or if you always have stumbled on the same glitches, or if you really struggle with self-hatred or self-sabotages, give us a ring, jump onto the phone and call my receptionist and book in for a session, and we can change all that in one session so you can be on your way. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed it, and lots of love from my heart to yours. Bye for now, everyone.